Hello everyone, welcome back to Everything Swift. Today we'll be tackling Leetcode question 234 titled Palindrome Linked List. We're essentially given a linked list represented in this parameter here, and we're supposed to check whether this list node is actually a palindrome, right? Just to refresh your memory in case those who are not familiar what is a palindrome, basically if you spell something forward and backward, it's exactly the same, right? So in this example here, 1221, if we type it forward 1221 and type it backwards, it is still 1221. So that is the definition of a palindrome, so the output is true, right? So in the second example where 1 and 2, right? If we spell it backward, it's 2 and 1, right? So that is not a palindrome. That is not a valid palindrome. Okay? So let's try and solve this problem here. So I'm going to do a quick optimization check here. If head is nil, then it's false, right? I think in the world of Leetcode, this is probably not going to happen. Like head is probably not going to be nil, but it's just a habit of mine where if it's nil, there's no further operation required for us to do. So this is just a fast way for us to exit this function here for performance reason. So I'm just doing that, right? So a quick high level strategy of what we're going to do here is essentially like we are going to loop all the way to the midpoint, right? And what we're going to do with that is we're going to split this list node into two portions, right? So that's why we are going to loop all the way until to the midpoint and then reverse the second half of the list node, and then we are going to reverse this second half and compare it with the first portion. If the reverse portion value of each node is equals to the first portion, then we know it's a valid palindrome, right? So essentially, like if it's 1 2 2 1, this is our original list node. What we are going to do is to split it into 1 and 2 and 2 and 1, right? Because we basically separated this out into two linked lists, right? Then we're going to take this one and reverse it. And once we reverse it, it will be 1 and 2. And then we are going to check the first portion and the second portion if the values are the same. And that's the strategy we're going to use to solve this problem. So let's try and work this out. So I'm just going to create a head variable here, which we will be using it later on. And I'm going to create a fast pointer and slow and fast pointer pointing to the head, right? And how we're going to get to the middle point is basically this fast list node is going to travel through this linked list twice as fast as the slow linked list. So I'm just going to check. Once it's nil, it will break out. So slow equals to slow.next and fast equals to fast.next, and then one more time, right? So what this happens is if the fast reaches to the end, and because it's moving two times faster than the slow, what will happen is the slow will end up in the midpoint, right? And then this slow will represent the head of the second node, which we will then use it to reverse it, and then we'll compare. So we need a reverse function here, reverse node. We will take in the node of optional list node and return a list node, right? So this is just doing a simple reverse linked list operation. So I'm just going to set it out. Our previous node is an optional list node, which is new, and our current will be whatever that's passed inside this parameter here. Let's go ahead and try and reverse this. If current is not new, then we'll keep it alive. Let's try and get the next node first, and then setting the next node to the previous, and previous will be current, yeah, and current will be equals to next node, right? and because this we are reversing, so the previous should be in front, right? So essentially this is just reversing the node that we're going to pass in, right? And then here we are going to call this reversed. We're going to call this function to reverse node slow, right? So slow is the head of the second portion of the linked list, and then once this is reversed, it will be, instead of 2 and 1, it will be 1 and 2, right? Using this example here. So now that we have it, head is still pointing to 1, right? So we're going to compare head and this reverse node. So while head is not equal to new, if let reverse value reverse val reverse value is not equals to head dot val, right? At any point in time throughout this while loop, if the value is not equals to the head value, then we know it is no longer a valid palindrome, right? Because they have to be the same value. So we can exit this while loop and just return false. Then what happens here is, if it is the same value, then we want to keep iterating throughout the list node, right? So slow will be head, we're using head here. Head will be equals to head.next, and reverse will be reverse.next. It's just moving down the chain of the linked list to the next node, right? Until it finds that is something that's violating it, then we'll return false, right? Where the value is not matching up. So if this while loop breaks and we did not hit the false exit with a false statement here, then we know that this list node linked list is true, right? So that we can just return true. Okay. So yeah. So just to summarize, we are just breaking the list node into the linked list into two portions, and then the slow represents the second portion, the head of the second linked list, and then we reverse it. Once it is reversed, we'll just iterate throughout the uh, linked list again, and we'll compare it with the first portion and the reverse second portion. If in any scenario where the value doesn't match up, then we know it is not a valid linked list. If it is, we just traverse to the next node and keep checking if the value is the same. Once this while loop has finished and we did not caught any exception of the value not being the same, then we know it is a valid linked list. So that looks fine. Let's try and run this code. Next node. Where am I? Next node. Next. Sorry. Next. I just keep typing next node here. Sorry guys. It's just next. It's not next node. There we go. Let's try and submit this. There we have it. That's the solution for this question, palindrome linked list. If you guys find this helpful, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Trying to grow this channel, and I'm going to put out more contents from here on now. So yeah, thanks for your time. Have a good day. Bye bye.